you clean up real nice.
Well, thank you very much.
Getting out of that field in Berea and
Yes.
all those beans and everything with Bill Benz.
You know, that guy's just an incredible source of information, especially for heirloom
Yeah, oh, he
beans.
is.
And you know, we came back with kind of a nice little stash of gold here.
Beautiful.
Greasy beans, which we talk about, you know, the chefs
And we showed us
are
those on the
loving,
vine, yeah.
loving these
Aren't
things.
those pretty?
They are pretty. So what we do is we need to get started on a recipe. What we're going to do is make some of these beans, and it takes a little bit of time. We're going to use a ham hock.
Tell me about a ham hock.
Ham
What
hock
that
is
thing?
basically the bottom shank of the pig. This one's been smoked. This is traditionally what you want for, you know, a nice green bean, you know, smoked ham hock. You can tell, my favorite ingredient. So anyway, a couple of these into a little pot of water. What we're going to do is make a foundational broth, which these beans are going to cook in. We're going to show basically how to make the lazy house, or the leather britches, really, the dried beans. But
Leather
we're also going to
britches, I love
use,
that.
a lot of people throw away their broth. We're going to utilize that.
That's where the nutrients are. Do we have to string those, Jeremy?
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of work stringing these beans and show
Uh-oh,
people
I
how
have
to
to work
dry
for
them
myself,
out.
huh?
But it's pretty
Okay.
pretty important steps. So anyway, ham hocks into a pot of water. We're going to add some fresh onion, which has been diced already. You know, traditionally, that's really about all people would put into their beans would be ham hock and onion and boil that down for a while.
Sort of go by taste, just sort of put in just not necessarily a certain amount. I mean, you're like an expert, right?
Yeah,
What would
well,
someone
I'd
dumb
say
like
probably
me
a
do?
good, you know, half a cup of onion there, a little bit of salt, cracked pepper would be good, and here's some garlic. You want to grab that pepper mill for us?
I think I can manage that.
A little bit of chopped garlic goes in there. Traditionally, people don't put garlic in it. I like that in mine. We're going to make something called a pot liquor out of this juice.
Pot liquor.
And that's a really
Southern
nice
term.
ingredient. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Lots of good
I'm a
cracked black
pot liquor.
pepper. And don't really hold back on this. You really want to give it a
lots of
lot of
pepper.
turn, lots of pepper.
I think pepper is underestimated, don't you? And they say it makes gravy.
Man,
Tastes really good. And
it's a great
never
ingredient.
think about it.
There's no salt without pepper. You know, the one thing I do with it is I traditionally don't grill with it or sear with it because it becomes a little bit bitter. But, you know, finishing a dish with pepper or foundational sauces, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know, you can't have salt without pepper. It's just like yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
Also, fresh thyme. You need a good little half handful of that going right into the pot. Now, if you can see here, it's kind of a beautiful melange of ingredients.
Olfactory, or whatever you want to say, nose. I love smelling these things.
The idea behind a recipe like this is you want to take the beans and just cook them for hours and let these reconstitute in the broth and take on all these ingredients. So what we want to do is get
these are what these become, right?
That's right. That's what they become. First thing you want to do, we're going to get this on the stove and go for a good hour before we add the beans. That really develops the stock. All these flavors are stratified in the broth. All the flavors are mixed, and it's just going to be a nice stock. We're also going to use this stock before we add the green beans to make our grits for this recipe. So this goes onto the stove, and we'll start start a foundation here.
Okay. I like foundations.
Okay, so what we have is,
the
you know, the greasy beans, and one thing we learned from Bill, and, you know, the old traditional thing, you know, beans are such a foundational thing in the South, and, you know, people nowadays, they have these images when they were young, maybe their grandparents sitting on the porch and stringing beans, and, you know, more and more that's kind of lost. You don't really see that anymore, so when you get something as precious as a greasy bean or some of these heirloom beans, it's kind of nice to repaint those images. So you do want to treat these in the same way. Stringing a bean is, you want to take the end off.
In a moment, yeah.
And run the string down this way. The same thing on the other side.
Yeah, and Bill talks about not cutting off too much of the bean, that you actually use that little tip, right?
Right.
I did bushels of these when I was a kid.
So that one strings too.
In southern Ohio. With my parents from eastern Kentucky.
There you go. See how that just kind of peeled off, and then it goes on the other side too.
Beautiful.
So, you know, you have to sit around and peel a whole or string a whole mess of beans, right? That's kind of the
I love
thing.
that. That's a term.
At that point, we can, you know, snap them and then lay them out on a paper towel to dry. Now, another method would be to, you know, take your old sewing kit. You know, some people use dental floss, some people use just a good sewing thread, but needle and thread, and you'll run it through. And
this creates what?
Well, what we're going to do is run these through a big mess of them, you know, over and over again, and hang them up in your kitchen to dry.
Oh, like this, and then you just do it like this? This is fun.
Yeah, and this is just, you know, another preservation method. You know, you've got canning, you've got pickling, you've got drying, and this is a way to dry beans. So
they turn
some old
into
country
these.
places might have a big bundle of these hanging up in the ceiling on
And
the rafters.
eventually these get hung up.
These get hung up.
Dry out.
And they dry out.
And they become these.
And they become these.
And they are called
Leather britches. So a dry bean, and what happens is the sun or the dehydration really intensifies the flavors, right? So these are going to go into the stock that we're making and cook for a very long time. Okay, now it's grit time. We use a stone ground grit from the south. Instant grits just will not do. We
have to have the real thing.
Have the real thing.
Okay.
And our nice, smoked ham hock broth is going. Lots of fresh onions and thyme and garlic. It's really developing. You can see it kind of get cloudy and lovely. Classical French cooking can tell you to simmer, but down in the south, this is just something you boil down.
Yeah.
So some good grits, right?
Start with butter.
Good heap of butter right into the pan. You're gonna let that kind of get melted up.
Do you use pure butter or
unsalted butter? That way we know that there really isn't any salt in there for preservative, but also for flavor standpoint. Your salted butter, you never know the ratio of salt.
Oh, okay. So you always get
because they
unsalted.
change.
And then you can always add.
You can always add salt at the. I like to season at the end. So a good wooden spoon, get that butter going.
Wooden spoon. What's important about a wooden spoon?
I don't know, just something a little bit sexy about the way it moves.
I thought there was
like
some
the
big
way
scientific reason.
The way it works. Risottos, grits, those kind of porridges, I like wooden spoons for. See how much character this one has? It's shredded now. It's got a little burn.
Actually, it does kind of seem
It's
better.
well loved.
Yeah.
Some fresh garlic goes right into the butter. Now the thing about when you're adding aromatics like onion and garlic is you really want to let these take off in the butter. So you can already start to smell that. That's the perfume.
You got it boiling, so it's got kind of on higher heat.
It is kind of a high heat. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit.
Okay.
We don't really want browning, but we do want to let that cook for a good minute or so. And see how it's just sizzling and perfuming the butter. We got that
smells so good.
nice little bit of yellow onion in there. I'd say that was a good 3/4 of a cup.
Is that a sweet onion?
It is. Well, it's a sweeter onion than, say, a white onion. This is just a yellow Spanish onion, pretty much the most common onion you find at the grocery. Nothing really special there.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people would really brush through this step. I want to develop these flavors, so let this go, keep stirring, give it a good 5 minutes, let everything get translucent. We'll just kind of sit here and we'll cook. Amazing. So now that we have the onions where I like them, a little bit translucent, moving, they're kind of dancing around in their little party here. We go ahead and start adding our broth from
that stock.
From the stock, right?
Boiling away.
Now, a good ratio for grits is about, I like to go about 4 to 1 in terms of broth to grits. So we need a good amount of this.
4 to 1.
As in broth and to grits. So we're going to add a good amount of broth here. Just keep adding it.
Yeah. Are you keeping count? That's why I can't cook.
Well, I kind of meant by volume ratios.
Math never was good, yeah.
I do want to keep this boiling here, though, so we don't lose any momentum. So I think that's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
So this is boiling. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it with just a little bit more fresh thyme. I'm going to let that kind of roll in there. I love the way thyme perfumes grits and pastas and grains. We do have to pick this out later, but anyway, you can already start
Any
to
other herb
smell
that you can use besides thyme?
Anything you want, fall or spring, it just depends on what feel you want. Sage would be amazing, good old southern food.
Yeah.
A little bit more butter in there.
Okay.
And then we're going to stir in some grits.
And then okay, so that's the ratio piece, right?
Yeah, and I'm not going to use all this. We'll actually give a little bit more accurate descriptions on the screen website here, but a little bit of grits to take on that stock.
And then, so this boils until the grits absorb the liquid.
And you want to stir pretty occasionally. I mean, every 2 to 3 minutes. Give them a stir. I'm going to turn this down quite a bit. I do want to see some bubbles, but not a whole lot of this violent action here.
Hey, goody. Tell me what happens
Everything
now.
came together. We've got amazing creamy grits, greasy beans that they were dried. Now they're cooked. The ham hock is in there. We've got a nice pot liquor broth, which is just, it's killing me with the fumes are awesome.
All right, now
so
what?
This is just a great little country style dish. See how these grits just kind of fall
they are
into the bowl?
creamy.
Lots of good fresh thyme. I'm going to pick out that twig because we don't want to serve that. But, it's kind of nice to have it in there.
Okay, so you
because
just
they
add
flavored
them on
the
bowl.
dish so well. So we'll take this little
Are you
piece
better
of
off
thyme.
doing it in a bowl like setting like this?
Oh yeah, a plate's just gonna not contain all the good, all that goodness of those grits, you know, coming down like that. So a little bit of these greasy beans. See that ham hock in there?
Yeah, I
And,
do.
you
It's,
know,
it's lucky it's made it this far without
Put
me
it
eating
delicately down.
it.
Stack those up, and this is just as good and southern as it gets. But
It's
you know,
already
the
looking
thing
so
is
good.
it's just so. The ingredients are so pristine. We've got that poached egg we did.
Oh, yeah.
We'll kind of bring that out and kind of put that down to where we can delicately lay it right on top, because we're going to poke in there and it's going to sauce the whole dish, right?
Yeah.
So once we have that in place,
And we got
I'm just going to, you know, act like it's a kind of a garden dish. Well,
Yeah.
you know, nice good old
Big ol'
slice of
mater.
a southern tomato, right?
Look how red that thing is.
And I've got to have a little salt on that. You know, don't forget to put a little salt on your tomato, right?
Absolutely.
So a little bit of this down in here. And then maybe a little pickle.
Nutty,
You know, if you got some pickled vegetables in the house, garnish with them. Okra or onion or green bean, you know, like a green bean two ways here. I've just got a little bit of red onion. And do pickled there too.
How
And
do
the
you
last
pickle?
thing,
What's it in?
A little red wine vinegar and sugar. Little things I keep around just to kind of put garnishes on things. And then a little homemade hot sauce for me.
Me too.
And this is like a whole other episode we got to do. Is chilies and hot sauce and.
Is this
how to
homemade?
make- Yeah.
Or do you,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you can find some really good sauces, you know, and Kentucky kind of stuff.
So you
People
know,
are doing a lot of value-added products, in fact.
there's a wonderful little dish there
That's
with all
so
these garden
pretty.
products, and man, is that going to be comforting when you just dig in there. And
I want to dig in. Where's
it's
a,
so
where's
good.
A,
I've got a
something?
spoon with some hot sauce on it. But
Yummers.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's do it. Got to get all the ingredients in there.
Yep.
Okay, now
There you go.
a bean, a little bit of a tomato.
There you
Right?
go.
How do you? Oh, we were going to poke the egg.
I'll take care of that part, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
See if that's kind of, see how it's saucing right into the bowl? That's what you're looking for, a little egg, a lot of tomato and bean.
That is so good. Yummers. Good.
That's like a perfect southern brunch.
I want to taste these grits too, just a little bit on their own.
And there's just something about that. There's history in that bowl. You know, there's just
There is history in that bowl, and Bill Best thanked people like him who
Yeah.
are bringing that tradition back,
it
bringing
is
taste
okay.
together.
And, you know, and it's also just a variation of what's been done in the past. Pickles and vinegars and hot sauce, and it all comes
It's
together.
just kind of
and
making it all come together.
I'm going
which is
back for
okay.
more. You know,
Yeah,
why not?
we'll be back.
Food News and Chews is brought to you by these proud sponsors. Alltech, helping farmers feed the world. Azure Restaurant and Patio, worldly influenced, locally inspired. Sullivan University, offering higher education for people with higher goals. Azure Catering, catering the most important events, yours. Critchfield Meats, fresh, high-quality, all-natural meats, guaranteed. And Seaworth Superstore, fulfilling all your kitchen supply needs.